Undeclared wars are commonplace. Tragically, our government engages in preemptive war, otherwise known as aggression, with no complaints from the American people. Sadly, we have become accustomed to living with the illegitimate use of force by government. To develop a truly free society, the issue of initiating force must be understood and rejected.
What if sometimes, to love your country, you had to alter or abolish the government? What if Jefferson was right? What if that government is best which governs least? What if it is dangerous to be right when the government is wrong? What if it is better to perish fighting for freedom than to live as a slave? What if freedom's greatest hour of danger is now?
Hi, everyone. Judge Andrew Napolitano here for Judging Freedom. Today is Tuesday, January 27th, 2026. My dear friend, Colonel Karen Kwiatkowski, joins us now. Colonel Kwiatkowski, a pleasure. But I never talked to you about that new intro. That is, of course, you know the voice, but that is from Congressman Ron Paul's farewell address on the floor of the House of Representatives. It's about 30 minutes long, but Chris found what I thought were the best parts of it. And he, at age 90 plus, is beaming that we open up the show with his voice. Yeah, it's very profound.
Yes, it really is. No better time than now to have a message like that in front of every one of your shows, because I think it is so right. Ron Paul, of course, is always right, but the timing is also.
Why are there no Palestinians on Trump's board of peace?
Okay. Okay.
I have to ask that with a straight face.
Palestinians don't matter. Palestinians don't matter to Trump. I mean, clearly, if they did, he would not have been, heavily funding and promoting and defending the genocide that Israel's conducting. And we're paying for it. We're fueling it. We're paying for it. We're providing top cover at the UN for it. We've done everything we can to help Israel kill Palestinians. Clearly, Trump wants to do that. So if he wants to kill you, I know he's very crazy sometimes. He says one thing and he says something else. But if he wants to kill Palestinians, then that's why there's no Palestinians on the so-called board of peace. I think Palestinians are dead to Trump, just like they are to the most Israelis. The board of peace itself, of course, isn't really anything to do with anything. It's not a board. It's not about peace. It's an opportunistic kind of thing to see who can make money from what's left of Gaza. And honestly,
everybody that's on it contributed or had contributed in their behalf. I don't know how Tony Blair came up with $1 billion, but whatever. And I can't imagine Trump paid his own, but everybody theoretically contributed $1 billion. That's $20 billion so far. What happens to that cash? Does it go to Jared Kushner to finish bulldozing Gaza and develop it into Trump World Gaza?
Well, I mean, clearly it's going into some sort of the preparation for Jared Kushner's vision of this modern new Gaza, new Rafah, new everything. They're erasing Gaza, erasing the Palestinians that live there, building something, and that's going to take some money. So I imagine some of these billions, if let's say there's 20 now, 5 at least are going to Israel to pay the cost, because Israel's doing the demolition. They've been doing the demolition now for this project for over 2 years, 2.5 years almost. So Israel will get some of it, but I'm curious. I mean, they haven't been very clear about how the money is being used. Is it a gift or is it an investment? Because maybe it's a tax write-off. There is benefit to whoever the donors are, whether that's in their taxes, in getting on the ground floor of a money-making opportunity. The whole thing is just it's just disgusting, really.
The chair of it, of course, is Donald Trump, the person, not Donald Trump, the president. And the chair can veto whatever the board wants. So if one of the Arab countries proposes, well, some simple resolution. The Palestinians are entitled to their own state. And Trump and Netanyahu and Blair vote against it, and it's 27-3 in favor. Trump can veto it, even after he leaves the presidency. I suppose this is some sort of a investment vehicle. It's certainly not a government. This thing it's not a treaty. It hasn't been ratified by the Senate. It hasn't been approved by any of the legislative bodies of any of the governments involved.
Yeah, maybe Trump's counting on being impeached and removed, and then he'll go right on into the big project, the Trump project in Gaza. But I think one of the problems, I mean, people are saying that the Board of Peace is somehow a pseudo UN that the U.S. can entirely control, as if we don't already control the UN. And it looks like if he kept a veto, if Trump as the chairman of the board kept his veto, it sounds like that's the one thing he liked about the UN, and so he retained that. This is very sus, as the young people would say. It's very yeah.
By the way, the charter. I was just reading this in the Washington Post, so I assume it's accurate. The charter of the Board of Peace also permits the chair to design the logo. So I wonder whose image will be in the logo. Not that we really care about this. It's just another manifestation of the most extraordinary international hubris at the present time. You know, the world has seen examples of this kind of hubris, but nothing rivals it. Nothing rivals it today. What happens to America if Palestine is not eradicated? You asked that in your piece, Who Will Feed Gaza, which is at LouRockwell.com, JudgeSnap.com, and your other venues. But what happens to America if Palestine is not eradicated?
Well, we've invested ourselves, our government has invested itself in the destruction, well, in the Zionist project, which is the erasure of Palestinians throughout Israel, but in particular Gaza. That's the genocide. That's the rationale for the genocide. They want all these people gone. We've paid for it. If we lose that, if that doesn't happen, and it shouldn't happen, I mean, by the grace of God, Palestinians will prevail, okay? And Zionism will fail. That's the just answer to this. But if the Palestinians are erased, then the United States has not a single moral leg remaining to stand on as a beacon for the world. We already aren't in many ways. We have lost our sense of global righteousness if we ever had it. And I think we did. I think countries looked up to, other countries looked up to our country. You know, we were attractive to immigrants for many, many decades. And the reason for that was we were a free country. We were a country that protected the rights of the innocent, protected natural rights of all people. This is what our Constitution is designed to do and what the founders intended it to do. So we have been a great country. I don't know what MAGA has to do with any of this, but he's actually making us worse than we've ever been before. And if Gazans do die, if they build a new city on the bones of dead women and children in mass graves below the dirt and the concrete, if this is what they want to do, that's America's fate also. In terms of we did that, okay? It's nothing to be proud of. It's a grotesque sin. I don't care what religion you're from or if you're not in any religion, it is a grotesque sin. It is an affront to life. It is an affront to justice. So, and we've been a part of that. Now, you say, well, Americans don't control their government. Yeah, Americans don't control their government, but we still have this government. We're stuck with it. Are you telling me we're going to be stuck with it forever? No. I mean, I think this would be the beginning of the end for not just the empire, but for this so-called republic, that we don't really operate as a republic. And I think the end is coming. But we see it in other ways, too. The IDF, the same IDF that murders and shoots, puts 336 bullets into Hind Rajab, because she's left alive in a burning car. So the IDF, the untrained, immoral IDF that conducts itself in that way and rapes prisoners, and laughs about it and is defended by the population. The same IDF that does that is training many domestic police forces, and certainly they are training ICE. And that is something that I think, Americans don't see dead Palestinians. Many of them don't. But when we see federal cops or any type of cops wearing masks and with heavy weapons, basically outfitted like SWAT teams, going in and knocking down doors and dragging people out in their underwear, especially the wrong people, people that are American citizens, and never saying sorry, never apologizing, never showing a warrant, never showing their face. And you risk being shot if you take a picture, you do a video of these guys in action, you risk being killed. So that's the IDF training. That's the IDF way. And guess what? It's not just in Israel, it's home. And you say, oh, that's Minneapolis. There are a bunch of lefties in Minneapolis. Oh, who cares about them? Well, okay, fine, whatever. Okay, wait till it comes.
Wait till it comes to Dallas or Cincinnati or
That's
some
right.
place
That's
not dominated by leftists. Where was the world when the Israelis were slaughtering tens of thousands of Palestinians and turning Gaza into a cement graveyard?
Yeah. Well, I asked that question. That's that's not even rhetorical. I don't know where they were, but I poke fun, or I don't really poke fun. I think insult a large number of people. And I got in trouble with some of my readers for insulting Christians in general, because, they said, oh no, well, we are supposed to walk the life of, walk the path of Jesus, and we should do something. That's my point. Christians should follow the example of Jesus. That's part of Christianity. And we haven't. And of course, I slam, as I always would, as would be very predictable, Zionist Christians who I think are, a cult of their own.
But wait, before I ask you what America's Zionist Christians want, watch this. Cut number 13, Chris.
We made a change to designate the use of the term Zionist as a proxy for a protected attribute as hate speech. So if somebody were to use Zionist, of course you can use it in the sense of you're a proud Zionist, but if you're using it in the context of degrading somebody, calling somebody a Zionist as a dirty name, then that gets designated as hate speech to be moderated against. Over the course of 2024, we tripled the amount of accounts that we were banning for hateful activity. We also have, I think, over 24 Jewish organizations that are constantly feeding us intelligence and information when they spot violative trends. There is no finish line. There's no finish line to moderating hate speech, identifying hateful trends, trying to keep the platform safe. There's no such thing as an end game.
Wonder if TikTok is going to have to register with the Department of Justice as a foreign lobbying organization, since that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, of course, these TikTok is, may suffer a loss of participation. It certainly becomes a less free, not that it was ever truly free, but it's a lot less free now. But the idea that a political, hate speech is in its own, we could what is hate speech, right? I mean, this is a very slippery slope to begin with. But when you put a political theology or a political philosophy, Zionism, that is a politics thing. It's not religious. It is an ethnic, political thought process. I don't know. It's a group. So anyone can be a Zionist, right? I'm not Jewish. I can certainly be a Zionist. I could support Zionist political objectives and practices, and I could want to promote Zionism around the world. So that would make me a Zionist. That's a political choice. It's not something you're born with. So if that political choice can become targeted hate speech, you use the word, well, were you proud of it, or were you embarrassed by it, or did you dislike it, whatever, and they determine that, then that means I'm a proud Democrat. Okay, well, what if I'm not a proud Democrat? What if I'm a Democrat that criticizes the Democratic Party for being a bunch of hypocrites? Or what if I'm a Republican and I criticize Trump for buying up corporations with the tax dollar in a very fascistic model. You know, what if I criticize, you know, I'm not a proud Republican. So, but I guess, you know, is there no end to this? You know, he says there's no end to this. Well, maybe there isn't.
You remember the conversation, I think you do, between Tucker Carlson and Senator Ted Cruz, in which Cruz, notwithstanding his Princeton and Harvard education, revealed a vapid ignorance of the Old Testament, nevertheless did say he believes that God the Father gave the land of present-day Israel to the present-day modern Zionists, which of course is preposterous. But he and Mike Huckabee and Mike Johnson, who's number 2 in line to succeed to the presidency should something happen to Trump or Vance, they believe this stuff.
Yeah, it is a political belief that people can adopt, and it has nothing to do with hate speech. It's something we should be able to freely talk about. Now again, the First Amendment, we have that in this country, and maybe other countries, you know, they don't have freedom of speech, so we have it. To see this kind of emphasis on controlling what we can say politically in this country, you know, the free speech, the First Amendment, the founders weren't trying to preserve our ability to talk to our neighbor about what we're going to do next week or what we're having for dinner. That's not what they were trying to protect. They protected in the First Amendment both our religious and belief practices and also our political speech, right? That's the most important kind of speech. And so here's this TikTok dude. I don't even know who this guy is, but on TikTok, I guess he's working in the algorithm. And he's saying, oh, yeah, we're going to fix this up so no one can talk freely or honestly about a particular political ideology. Where does that end? He says there's no end to it. Where does it end? You know, I mean, this is just nuts. Now, TikTok is not owned by the government. I don't believe it's owned by
Larry Ellison.
Yeah, so it's owned by Zionists, and it's their company, and they can do what they want. And
Correct.
The customers or the users of TikTok can do what they want. And of course,
even though the freedom of speech is a human right, the Constitution only insulates it against attacks from the government, direct or indirect.
Yeah.
But just to lighten things up, apparently Senator Cory Booker, who's been a longtime friend of mine, going back to my days on the bench in New Jersey and his days as the mayor of Newark, is the longtime senior senator from New Jersey. And apparently he was giving a speech at the National Cathedral. Well, why does the government own a cathedral? Another story for another time. But Benjamin Netanyahu or someone resembling him showed up.
Please keep funding our genocide. Thank you, America.
Oh, wow.
Thank you for saying something about Thank you for saying something about I endorse 44%. Thank you, America. Please keep funding our genocide. Thank you, America.
It's a very big
Cory
tent.
Booker for Senate.
Very big
Cory
tent.
Booker, 2026. Let's go.
That's good. That's good. Well, how creative, right? How creative. And the use of humor.
Well, Senator Booker gets a lot of money from AIPAC, and this was just a vivid, sardonic demonstration of that.
Well, when our free speech and our free movement is limited and becomes limited, more and more limited, then, you know, it doesn't take 100% of the people. It only takes a small percentage of the people to figure out how to get around that. And that's a creative way to do it. And I think we're going to see a lot more people getting around it. I mean, I know TikTok has the pro-Palestinian, which is a global movement and a global presence on TikTok, but even the American side had a lot of pro-Palestinian messages, which is why Netanyahu targeted TikTok, right? It was the most important thing they had to capture, and they did capture it. But there's already alternatives coming up for people to leave TikTok, and people will. And of course, as the TikTok shops are finding fewer customers, the whole thing. I mean, the marketplace of ideas will outcompete Zionism, and it'll outcompete Zionist thought and language control, always. Now, the question is, how long will it take? But I do trust that we make choices ourselves. Everybody does. There's ways to fight this, and those ways need to be, they are creative, and we need to put some energy into participating in that fight. Because, and I really like your FARA, your foreign agent designation for American TikTok, for Ellison's TikTok, because clearly.
Well, this Ellison also owns CBS News, so the same thing will probably be happening there. And he's trying desperately to buy CNN from Warner Brothers, but they don't want to sell it to him.
Yeah, well, when you have employees of Ellison's TikTok, like that guy you showed, who said, "This is what we're doing. If people talk badly about Zionism, we are knocking them down." And we've got a whole cadre of people that are doing intelligence work for us and reporting people that are saying bad things about Zionism. Well, Zionism is not an American political party. Well, maybe there's some Zionist party I don't know about in this country, but Republicans and Democrats, I guess it would be. But in any case, when your employees, your top managers, your algorithm top scientist says that openly, they should definitely, somebody needs to come after them for registering as a foreign agent, because they are advocating for another government, and they are operating in this country.
Chris tells me that mass numbers are already leaving TikTok for a new app called Upscrolled.
Upscrolled, yep.
Capital UP, capital SCROLLED. We'll see what happens. You can only push people around so much and for so long before they just forget about you or push back, and that's apparently what will happen with these people. I would imagine whatever Ellison spent to buy it is peanuts to him. He's one of the world's richest men, but he and this character that we just showed, who gloated about banning the word Zionist unless used in a proud Zionist way, will lose their investment.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's going to happen.
Life goes on. Yeah. Karen, thank you very much. Very enjoyable. It always is whenever we chat. It's a great piece, which you can see at Judge Knapp, Who Will Feed Gaza, by Colonel Karen Kwiatkowski. Thank you, Karen. All the best. See you next week.
Absolutely, Judge. Thanks.
Thank you. Coming up tomorrow, Wednesday at 8 in the morning, Gilbert Doctorow. At 11 in the morning, have I been waiting to talk to him, Max Blumenthal. At 1 in the afternoon, Professor Glenn Deason. At 3 in the afternoon, the great Phil Giraldi. Thank you for watching. Judge Napolitano for Judging Freedom.